Lesson 15 is about surface area. Geometric figures that have three dimensions are called geometric solids. Geometric solids whose sides are at right angles to the bases are called right geometric solids. If the bases of a right solid are polygons, like a triangle or a rectangle or a square or a pentagon or a hexagon, the right solid is called a right prism. The surface area of a right prism is the total area of all of the exposed surfaces. And that means the surfaces like on the outside. Okay. Okay. You all did this in elementary school, 7th and 8th grade. I'm sure you did the boxes, okay? And the way that you would have done them, if we wanted to find the surface area, so we would have looked at the box, and we know that it has a top, and we know that it has a bottom underneath that we can't see. We know that it has a front, and it has a back that we can't see. And it has a side and another side just like it that we also cannot see. Okay, well, we know that the area of a rectangle, all the surfaces in a right rectangular prism are rectangles. We know that that formula is area equals length times width. So if we do the top and the bottom, has no dimensions on the top, but I know that this is an opposite side. These two are opposite sides. This has to be 4 because opposite sides in rectangles are equal. This is an opposite side. This has to be equal to 3. So when I do the top, I'm going to do 4 times 3 equals 12. And the bottom is exactly like it. 4 times 3 equals 12. Likewise, the front. The front does have the two dimensions, 2 and 4. 4 is the length, 2 is the width. So I'm going to do 4 times 2, which equals 8. And the back is exactly like the front, and that also would equal 8. The two sides now, again, we'll go to opposite sides in a rectangle being equal. That's 2. Okay, so I'm going to have 2 times 3 and 2 times 3. Both sides are exactly alike. They both rectangles that form the sides have an area of 6. Now we're going to add up all those dimensions. 12 plus 12 is 24, plus 8 is 32, plus 8 is 40, plus 6 is 46, plus another 6 is 52. And we use our unit, and whenever we're doing area, we put a little squared mark by it. Okay, now in this lesson we're going to use a new surface area formula, and it's going to be surface area equals 2 base areas plus the perimeter of the base times the height. When we use this formula, it's always good to darken in what you're going to use. Since this side is always also the darkest side here, I'm going to use this as my base. This side is going to be my base. So I'm going to plug in 2. I'm going to plug in the formula that I'm going to use. All of the sides around this base are straight sides, so we're just going to add. We don't have to use a formula to find those. Okay, now when we do this, we plug in the dimensions of this base, 2 times 3. We add the sides, 2 plus 3. This side over here is also 2 because it's opposite this 2. So we have another 2 plus 3. Now if this is our base and we're tipping it up, this side that we didn't use in our area formula or in finding our perimeter, that becomes the height. So that would be 4. So we have 2 times 3, that's 6, times another 2 is 12. And 2 plus 3 plus 2 plus 3 is 10. 10 times 4 is 40, so we're going to have 12 plus 40, and we get exactly the same answer doing it this way. Now, when you have a rectangular prism, it's possible to do it in that way. Also, when you have a triangular prism, it is, but it's a little more difficult. Here we have a triangular prism, and we are going to use this formula. Surface area equals 2 base areas plus the perimeter of the base times the height. Okay? Now, when we have a triangle, our base area is base times height divided by 2. So we're going to multiply whatever the area of the triangle is by 2. We're also going to add sides here because we have all straight sides, and we're going to figure out what the height is. So here's my triangle right in here. I'm going to shade in that base so I know what I'm looking at. This is also a right triangle. So we know that in a right triangle, the height is 4 and the 3 is the base. Those two legs of the right triangle, always, one is the base and one is the height, always. Okay, now if we go around this right triangle, we have sides of length 4, 3, and 5. We didn't use this 6, so this 6, if we tip it up on its triangle, becomes the height. 4 times 3 is 12, and 12 divided by 2 is 6. And then 2 times 6 is 12. 4 plus 3, we can't really see this, so I'm going to drag it out of the way. Up here, 4 plus 3 is 7, plus 5 is 12. So now in here we have 12. I lost my pen. We have 12. And I'm going to multiply that by 6. 6 times 12 is 72. We add these two together. 12 plus 72 equals 84. My dimensions were in meters, so my answer is 84 meters squared. Now in this one we have a right circular cylinder. The radius is 4 inches, the height is 10 inches as shown. And we have our surface area formula. Okay, so now this is our base, this circle right on the top that I'm coloring in. And in order to find the area of a circle, we use the formula pi times diameter. Perimeter of a circle now is pi times d. Pi times radius squared is the formula for the area. I think I said pi times diameter, but that's the perimeter, or circumference we call it, of the circle. So we have 2 pi times 4 to the second power plus pi. The radius is 4. We multiply the radius by 2 to get the diameter, and the height is 10. So we're going to have 2. 4 times 4 is 16 pi. 2 times 16 is 32 pi. And here we're going to have 8 pi times 10. 8 times 10 is 80. And this would be then 80 pi for the lateral surface area, we call it, around the outside of that right circular cylinder. We add these two together and we get 112 pi inches squared. Now you can multiply that out and do it with decimal answers, or you can leave your answer just like I did in pi. Okay, now we have a composite shape, okay, and the base of this right solid is 10 feet high as shown. Find the surface area. So we know we're going to use this formula, 2 base areas plus the perimeter of the base times the height. And we're told in this type of problem the height in the problem. Well, when we do our base area, we actually have two shapes. We have a rectangle and we have a semicircle. And when we do this, we're going to add some of the sides. We're going to add 5 to 6, and then over here there's another 5, but we're also going to use the formula for a semicircle. So we're going to add, and we're going to use pi d divided by 2 as well, and then times the height of 10. Okay, well, our rectangle's fairly easy. It's length times width, and our circle is pi r to the second power. We have to divide that by 2. We're going to add 5, sorry, plus 6 plus 5, and the diameter of this circle is 6, so we're going to multiply pi times 6 and then divide that by 2, and then multiply the whole thing by the height, which is 10. Okay, well here, this part's easy. 2 times 6 times 5 plus r squared is going to be 9, so we're going to have 9 pi over 2 plus 16 plus 3 pi in here, and we have to multiply those two things by 10. This is going to be 2 times 30, which would be 60. The 2's will cancel when I multiply that by 2, so I'm going to have 60 plus 9 pi. 10 times 16 is 160, and 10 times 3 pi is 30 pi. Now we can add our plain old numbers. 60 plus 160 is 220. 9 plus 30 pi is 39 pi, and that we put a parentheses around and we do feet squared. I kind of ran out of room there. Okay, this concludes lesson 15.